Welcome to Backstage Money, real world finance for musicians. I'm your host, Jason K. Powers, and this is where music and money collide with honest stories and practical lessons from people who make it work. So let's get to it. Today, I am joined by Justin Longo, founder and CEO of MariNation, a platform built to let people make money while listening to music. By turning music investing into a game, he's building a bridge between streaming, financing, and fandom, and setting the stage for what he calls the first regulated music investment exchange. And we're going to talk about that. Justin, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, I was really fascinated when I first heard about this, and it's intriguing. I think it's a good blend of technology, the future, and potential. And so I was definitely intrigued, and I think our listeners are going to be intrigued as well. So give us a sort of short form version of MariNation, what it is and who it's for.
Yeah, absolutely. So, MariNation is a fantasy and prediction based music market where fans can trade like the momentum of their favorite artists. So, basically, that means, you know, a lot of fans, myself included, we love discovering new music. We love being early to things in the music industry. And this basically just gives an opportunity to do that and bring it to light while earning real prizes, real experiences, artist owned businesses. You can earn like merchandise and that sort of thing as well. It's for investors, it's for fans, and it's for artists. It's for all different types of parties in the music industry.
Okay. All right. So, from an artist perspective, what's kind of their intrigue from their vantage point?
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. So our focus when it comes to artists is revenue streams, right? The music industry, music streaming has significantly devalued financially songs. You can see that with transition from CDs to Apple Music to now, Spotify and the streaming model. So our focus for artists is to put more money in their pocket, is to give them a platform where they can offer their products or offer some sort of experience for their fans, connect to them on a deeper level, and also sell them on more product offerings aside or aligned to their streaming and their career. So, for example, we have competitions on the platform, and those competitions are set for artist owned businesses. So, say Drake owns an OVO merchandise, his OVO clothing brand, right? Or Justin Bieber has a clothing brand. Rihanna has her Fendi Beauty line, which is, cosmetics and makeup and stuff. So, we give the opportunity for artists to monetize products that they're also pushing in addition to their music. So that creates an additional revenue stream, and we want to help facilitate that for artists.
Okay. So, I like how diverse it is, right? It's coming at it from both angles, so both sides can play, so to speak. And I think the problem that many, myself, and people like you and new technology out there we're trying to address is how can we help musicians from the struggle, right? Because there's a big
Hmm.
thing these days about streaming. Streaming is not helping a lot of artists. They're not getting paid what they're worth, what they should be getting. There's just the money struggle, right? And for most artists, as I say, money comes late and the bills come early. And
Yeah.
we need to get money moving. Artists need to get money moving. There's studio deposits and mixing and mastering and videos and ads and tour holds and travel, and it all needs cash before music earns, right? And streaming pays slowly or in small drips. Ticket sales, if you're already touring, ticket sales can be lumpy early on, or small crowds, but you don't know what you're going to get, right? Merch, you got to supply the inventory, things like this. So the real question is,
Hmm.
how do you fund the work without stalling your work, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great point. And the thing with, innovation and technology and streaming in particular, right? It's increased the revenue for the entire music industry substantially, right? Music's never had more revenue per year in the past like 5 or 10 years. Spotify and these other streaming platforms are making an incredible amount of money. And that also helps artists too. It helps them gain exposure. It helps people make music very simply and easily now with technology. They can reach an artist, they can go on DistroKid or CD Baby and distribute their music to all these streaming platforms to anybody around the world, right? That's an incredible, innovative like milestone in the music industry. But the flip side of that is the monetize or the financial value per song has decreased because it's such a commodity. It's so frequent. There's so much of it now because it's so easily accessible for anybody to make music and distribute it.
Sure, sure. Well, and yeah, that's a great point. I mean, the music industry, and I don't have the report handy. I was reading one earlier that just put out the report on how much money these big companies are making, and the numbers every year are going up and up and up and up. Now, the big guys, the big artists, they're rocking and rolling, and that's awesome. And I think the music industry as a whole is rising because I think people are, you know, we look at COVID days when nobody could do anything, and so live shows were not a thing. People start being
Mm-hmm.
more interested in what's online, so short form content start rolling out. Musicians really could latch onto that with social media and really get the word out about their music. And now everything is an effort to be viral. I want to be viral. Got to make this video go viral, have the scene go
Yeah,
viral, whatever it is, and that generates publicity for you. It's free publicity online. But the artists are trying so many things now to fill in the gaps. Every conversation I have with an artist on here, we have that conversation. What else are artists doing to fill the gaps? If you're not a full time touring musician, when you're home, you're probably doing something else. You have some side hustle or some job even,
mm-hmm.
but it's not uncommon, right? And the general public doesn't know about it. We don't hear about it. You know, we have the common paths. Where artists now trying to fill in the gaps, even to fill in the gaps of funding their music. Even is you're self funding it. You get that second job and self fund it, or save up and self fund it. Some friends and family, if you're lucky, you know, credit cards, crowdfunding, even if you're more into it, you're selling a slice of royalties or taking advances, but each has a trade-off,
Mm-hmm.
right? Interest and pressure and donor fatigue, we would call it. And it can be taxing on the individual, you know, there's just so many things out there,
Absolutely.
so many things
And
out there.
I'm sure you probably talk to a lot of artists and coach them on this, but the weight that financial problems have around artists or a creative is
Mhm.
incredibly detrimental to their career. They're constantly from speaking from personal experience, I was a music producer for a couple of years, and the financial burden that you carry around on a daily basis is very to your creative spirit.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's a grind. I mean, I think I admire the musician who's just, you guys got to constantly be out there and constantly pushing and pushing and pushing and trying and trying and trying and do not give up. You know, that's advice we get almost every interview is do not give up. Hang in there.
Yeah,
Do what you do it for your fans, do the right thing, and you'll get there. You'll get there, but it's a grind, man. It is. It is. Well, let's spin back to MariNation. Okay. Well, let's spin back to MariNation and recap it again. So, in plain English, from the artist perspective, how does this aim to potentially fill, say, the middle ground for artists and help them in that way? I love you have this risk-free simulation that on
yeah.
the fan side can get into and practice music investing. And so talk a little bit about that, but also talk about how it's different than, we talked about before the show. We were talking about the organizations out there that are you're monetizing music rights, and maybe contrast the two.
Of course. From an artist perspective, it's an additional revenue stream, and it's a way to deepen the relationship and strengthen the loyalty for your current fans and to gain new fans. So that would be the primary motives for artists to partake on this. from the fan perspective, with the fantasy simulated model that we have, you basically we treat it as the stock market of music. You come on the platform and you select artists, and you submit a so we give you a balance when you come to the platform. That's a simulated balance. It's all tokens. You select artists, and as your portfolio grows, say roster, if you're a record label, as your roster grows in performance, you can win actual prizes, concert tickets, VIP experiences, cash, all of that stuff for fans and investors. We have that simulated model. You don't have to get a credit card. There's no upfront payments. There's nothing like that. It's a risk-free environment where you get to experience music investing with the biggest artists in the world, and you get to experience and earn real prizes and real tangible results from that. The way we are different from a royalty exchange or some of the other platforms where you have to sell your rights, we are, as I said, it's a simulated environment. Royalty exchange is a real environment. You're selling and buying and selling music catalogs. Whoever owns the rights to those catalogs, you can put it up for sale, up for auction. And if there's a buyer willing to, you get upfront payments of cash. Eventually, we are going to introduce real world money, real tangible assets into the platform. But for right now, this simulated environment allows us to, like, introduce it's a new concept, introduce this new concept with people to get them familiar with it, get them feeling comfortable with it. There's no real financial risk. That's a huge thing, right? We're lowering the friction in order for people to try it and experience the real benefits that this is going to have for all of the people in the industry. So our competitive advantage, the thing that makes us really unique, is our artist momentum index. It's AMI to be short. So basically that means the back end of like the stock market with percentages and all that stuff. We have that for artists. So we create valuations for artists, we create performance metrics for artists, and
Wow.
we bundle that in to display like an actual stock for the biggest artists in the world. So it's a really interesting model how we bring together the stats and the data to give it a risk-free environment, a fun environment to connect to these artists in a ownership deeper way and actually earn real prizes.
Great. So
Yeah,
it's a risk-free environment, but it's real stats. And so
correct. Yes.
it seems like the artists can really build on that, at least from a data standpoint. Like they have access to that data
Yep.
and can
Yeah,
learn.
I mean it's great for artists to look at how they're doing in the market too, because you can see what their actions are doing in real time off of our platform. So say, what if I'm an artist, I just announced that I'm releasing a song next month or whatever it is, you could start to see kind of the shift or the decline if haven't released a lot of music, and see that on our platform because we're tracking your monthly listeners and your streams and all of these different streaming platforms and all these different data sets to show you in real time, like, are you growing, are you not growing, are you staying stagnant and all that stuff. And that could be very useful for your career to make the necessary decisions that you need to make.
Well, expound on a little bit where exactly all that data is coming from.
The data is coming from all the different streaming platforms, all the famous ones that YouTube, Spotify, Pandora, Shazams, how many people are shazamming your
Oh,
songs.
wow.
We're tracking social media metrics too. Obviously, say a million followers on Instagram doesn't translate to $1 million, but we do have an algorithm that is pretty accurate in regards to creating an estimated balance financially on how much a follower count would be worth in the market. Because at the end of the day, it's the music industry, it's the music entertainment industry, excuse me.
Yeah.
And, following a social media presence is incredibly valuable, especially as an artist, to cultivate an audience and a fan base. So that's where a lot of those stats are coming from. And that's how we're kind of piecing it all together with our algorithm.
And then all of the giveaways and prizes and what have you, where is that coming from?
That's coming from us. We're partnering with a bunch of artists, but basically we at the early stages, we're buying these prizes, we're setting them up ourselves, and then we're just offering on the platform. There are users do select a fee for competitions, and we pool that money together and then we distribute that in addition to us also fronting some of the costs for the product offerings, the experience offerings, the concert tickets, the sweatshirts, the merchandise, the possible private, Zoom calls with some of the artists we're going to partner with, and giving the fans that extra experience.
Hmm. And then, so as far as artist engagement, is it an opt-in process at the moment? Is it an opt-in process, or are you kind of sweeping all artists in and then directly connecting with the select few or the ones who want to? What's that look like?
Yeah, so all the artists that we have are we're just not they're not opt in at the moment. They're all there already, right? The ones that we're going to partner with, obviously, they would have to opt into the platform and get involved that way. How they want to get involved is completely up to them. Do they have a new clothing line that they want to promote? We would partner with them in regards to getting it the right exposure that it needs to on the platform. Do they have a new song release that they would like to sort of promote and offer a exclusive access or exclusive listening to the fans, or offer some sort of other offering with, like, a call or some private group chats and that sort of thing. So those artists would obviously opt in, but our platform, the artists are already there. In regards to the biggest artists in the world, we have the ability to use that artist data and their information to kickstart this platform.
Hmm. So it seems like there's two stages, right? Right now you have the fan engagement stage where I'm going to call it beta testing. You probably don't want me calling it that, but it's kind of beta testing it right now to see the interaction between fan and artist engagement, how the data works, how I'm sorry, fans learning how they can plug in and win things but but then phase two really is going to be the actual monetization of it. Is
Mhm.
that fair to say?
So there is monetization in this phase, right? So artists are putting their products on for these competitions, right? And also these real world cash prizes, fans and investors and artists also get to win these prizes, right? Artists can also buy and trade other artists on the platform. They don't necessarily just have to, hold this one role. They can do multiple things. They can participate in this game, which a lot of artists, if not all of them, are also music fans. So they do
Yes.
have their favorite artists as well. So that's phase one. The phase two is getting it really open to the more general public in regards to, like, the investment community and the cryptocurrency trading community and these betting apps and these betting platforms, that we would partner with an ATS, an alternative trading system, in order to bring that light to be registered with, like, the SEC and these legal entities in the United States, in order to bring it to the rest of the country. But this simulated environment is allowing us to bring it to market with all of these artists, risk free, not taking any financial monetary cash from these people who are signing up, but also give them real prizes, as I continue to mention.
So currently, what's the income opportunity for the artist, if any, at the moment?
Selling products,
Okay.
on our platform, and also partake in the trading
Okay.
to win cash and experiences and stuff.
Okay. And then is this something that the artist would also promote to their fans and try to push their fans over to this?
Yeah, correct. Yes, and also get exposure to new fans as well,
Mhm.
because there are some platforms that are trying this model to enhance the loyalty or the connection between the fan and the artist. Right? There's different tiers of fan, as you very well know. There's the fans that are passive listeners. They put it on when they're making dinner or doing some stuff around the house. And then there's the other listener that, or the other level of fan that'll go to your concert. And then there's the other level of fan that'll do the concert. They'll get the sweatshirt. They'll go behind backstage. They'll do the meet and greet. They'll stand in the rain for 5 hours to watch you,
Yeah.
perform and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So this platform allows that loyal, true fan to like increase the connection, and also maybe the passive listener who's interested in making more money, right? There's a lot of betting platforms, there's some investment platforms who wants, to make enter these prize pools, right? There's a lot of people who would like to just do that who aren't even, loyal fans of artists, but can also introduce them to, oh, this is really interesting. I didn't know, you know, these certain artists, Taylor Swift or Drake, had these stats, or I didn't know they had these clothing lines that, I
Yeah.
can win on this platform.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I'm excited for you to roll this out and see what becomes of it, because I think it's such a unique approach, you know, and the interactivity potential from fan to artist and vice versa, and it really, to me, sounds like the unique take on the whole thing, especially in this movement of technology these days,
Hmm.
where the streaming things are really not going away, and now
No.
we have AI playing a factor in things, whether it's technology or the music itself. And I'm not gonna poke that nest in this conversation, for AI music, but there's so much out there, and I think this is really sounds like it's really on the front end of that, which I think sounds really neat and could be very good for artists.
I mean, there's the music industry continues to evolve, right? And I mean, there's no shortage of challenges that we'll undertake to try and bridge the gap between, that passive listener to a real loyal fan that's, starting to buy your merchandise. All we can do is offer a medium, offer a platform for artists to make more money, to get their products out there, for fans to possibly become part owners or feel like they're part owners of somebody's career. Our role in this is to just progress the connection between the artist and the fan, to bring more money to the artist, to bring more money to the fans and the investors and all of this industry. We're just another platform to give utility to all these people is our model and our direction.
Mhm. So when it goes to the second phase and we have investors and money being invested into these artists, etc., what do you envision the rights, music rights? How is it going to affect that kind of thing?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I'll be honest, we're still trying to figure that out, but off the top of my head, the vision for it is, in the music industry, the way I see it, this will be a hot take. So I see music itself, songs have continually decreased in financial value. With AI music coming on and also more people having access to distribute their music, the market's incredibly saturated with songs and with music. There's tens of millions of songs being uploaded every month to all of these streaming platforms, and there's a lot of competition in a saturated market. I think, in my opinion, the next evolution of music is going to be artists selling equity in their career. It's going to be selling ownership and percentages of their overall
Yeah.
career like they would to a record label, because these songs continue to decrease in value with fractions of pennies per stream. And the main way to make money nowadays is touring, right? That's the main way artists, you know, receive a lot of their money and cash flow is from touring. So I see this as the next evolution in this monetization of music is the artist selling equity, selling stake of ownership in their career to fans, to investors, to management, to whoever, to other artists buying other artists'
Mhm.
percentages. record labels, all this stuff. I think that's the next evolution of artists making more money from their career because these songs continue to devalue. So what else is next? I can just sell equity in my overall career now.
Yeah, I think it certainly could go that way. There's so much shifting these days, and we're in a heated environment right now with the streaming platforms, and they're constantly now. I think it's gotten so heated now that they have to pivot. You're starting to see that even just in the past week. At the time we're recording this, in the past week or so, you're seeing some streaming services start to pivot a little bit in how
Hmm.
they're treating, how they're paying really artists and what they're doing with it, and how much control they have or don't have. And I think with this boom in technology lately, we're really going to see a forcible shift in the industry like that. And this may be the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been quite the journey to get to this point, though. I'll be honest. We've definitely had a bunch of different models. Talked to a bunch of artists, talked to a bunch of people in the industry, and a lot of trial and error. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of luck involved in being at the right time, right place at the right time with a lot of this stuff. But it seems like streaming is the end all be all when it comes to listening to music. They have hundreds of millions, if not maybe billions of people using their platforms, and they're in the driver's seat a lot of the time. But because the AI, right? The AI conversation is, do we need artists? And I personally think we do, right? Touring and concerts are really needed, right? We have a human, deep, visceral connection to live music and live
Yeah.
events, and it's awesome. And I think that'll never go away. But AI can make music, and
Mhm.
the technology is just going to continue to get better and better. And who knows what the future may hold for all of
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. I think there's a lot to be said about live music. We need, in general, right? The rise of social media, we need human interaction, face to face, in person, in the flesh, human interaction as a society anyway. And music has gotten that way, right? We can stream, we can pull up whatever we want to listen to online. In 2 seconds, I can have a song up, and
And it's
but
free.
yeah, it's you find it free most of the time, yeah. But live shows you can't beat, in my opinion. I love going to live shows. I'm always trying to go to a live show. And I'm always trying to meet the artists and visit, and I'm always trying to hit up the merch table if I can. And I that's important, but it's also important in supporting the artist because
Hmm.
they got to make a living that way. You know, if you're a business owner, if you're a and you have a friend who's a business owner, you want to support each other. You know, and if from a fan perspective, if you are listening to the band, you want to support them in that way, not just get it for free. We're preaching to the choir here because it's musicians listening, but everybody's
Yeah.
like, "That's right, preach it." But but from the musician perspective, yeah, I think it's like, yeah, don't give up live music. Don't give up selling the tangible stuff. Don't
Mm,
give up meeting your fans. Keep that interaction going. But technology is here and moving forward, whether we want it to or not, and we need to play the game a little bit also.
yeah,
And I think there's a way to do both.
I agree with you. I agree. The thing that I was thinking of is I believe vinyl sales have increased over the past couple of years, if I'm not mistaken. And the other thing is it's a big it's more the artists get the lion's share of their merchandise, if I'm not mistaken, also, right? When people were selling CDs back in the early 2000s or whatever, I believe the artists were making the majority of those sales at the time.
Yep.
Or if not, I mean, they were making a lot of money from that because it's a physical, tangible product.
Mhm.
It's just going to be very we just need to change, right? Artists need to adapt and be flexible, like the ones who have succeeded have always done, right? You see this in artists changing their persona and changing the genre of music. Like, look at some of these artists like Post Malone. He started out as a SoundCloud rapper, and now he's a country music star.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Diplo, the music producer, he started out as EDM and had his own label, and then he joined the group Major Lazer, and they do like Afro sort of reggaeton music and all that stuff. Like the ones who succeed are the ones who adapt and they change and they're flexible to the current environment, and they go on to have long lasting careers.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we were talking about that on another show about merch sales and the sale of vinyl and how it's increased year over year. But I think for the fans, I think you've seen a lot of younger people take on vinyls now and they're finding it interesting. And
Mm-hmm.
all the older people who are like, thank God I hung on to my vinyls, that I had back in the 60s and 70s and 80s. And, and now there's a blending and myself included, I've been buying vinyls when I see them and, love picking them up the merch table. If the band's around, have them sign it. It's just fun to have that tangible, and it's an experience, right? You having that vinyl and putting it on, putting that record on and listening to it, right? It's an experience.
Mm.
Fun fact, in 2022 was the first year that vinyls outsold CDs as a whole. They sold more
Oh
vinyls
wow.
in 2022 than they did CDs. 2023, same story. And I think that is on the rise. 2024, I'm pretty sure that trend has probably done nothing but increase, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And I was looking up some stats. They said here in 2023, about 43 million units of vinyl sold versus 37 million of CDs. In 2024, 24 million units of vinyl sold versus 17 million units of CD.
There you
That
go.
says a lot. That's a pretty good spread. That's a pretty good spread. So I don't know how current those numbers are, but that's indicative of, at least right now, what the trend is.
Mm-hmm. It's cool that a lot of times the old becomes cool again, right? If a lot of
Yes.
time has passed, now it's kind of a novelty collectible, and it's cool again to have
Mhm.
vinyls.
Mhm. Mhm. Well, and I attribute it a little bit to Gen X, and I I joke because I say we're all old enough to now afford to go to concerts all the time and buy the merch all the time or buy the vinyl all the time. So that's why you see these legacy bands coming back around and they're like,
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna go on tour again, and that's not why, but I think that's a good reason why, and because we're all coming out for it. We're all going. I'll go to that. I'll go see them again, man. It's been 15 years, 20 years since I've seen them, and go see them, and then but vinyl's just the same. We're a
Mm-hmm.
nostalgic generation
Yeah,
and we love it. I love it. All
it's
right, man.
cool.
Let's plug MariNation at, the world's first music investing game where fans can make money while listening to artists they love. Is that accurate?
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. You should be our talk show host.
So give me just a wrap up on, from an artist perspective, one more time. What is it? Where can they go to connect with you? If they want to get plugged into this, if they want to learn more, how can they engage in what's going on and get their music plugged in?
Absolutely. For artists, it's an additional revenue stream. It's a way to deepen relationships with the current fans and audience that you have, and also to get exposure to new fans and cultivate that loyalty that you have with your current audience. For if you guys want to check us out, we're on all TikTok and social media. You can follow us at Mari __nation on Instagram, MARI __NATION on TikTok. We have a couple accounts, MARI __NATION. If you just search MariNation on Instagram or TikTok, you can follow us. Or you can visit us at marinationmusic.com, and you can join the wait list, and we'll keep you updated and let you let loose when we launch it.
Good deal. And we'll have all of these links in our show notes and on YouTube as well, so people can connect and just check it out. Anything
Awesome.
else you want to add? Anything else you want to cover?
I mean, this is awesome. I'll be honest, it's a pleasure to meet you. It's a very small crowd who are in the intersection of music and finance for sure.
Yeah,
And
right.
it's
Right.
great that you're helping artists with their finances. I think it's incredible. You know,
Yeah.
taking the pressure financially off artists so that they can focus on creating their music and focus on, making more money from music. I think that is an amazing thing because like I said earlier, there's a financial burden, if you're scraping by or you have past due bills and all that stuff. It just takes a lot of space
Mhm.
from your mind that you should be, putting towards creativity and making music.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it's such a small market, and there is a big need for it, I think, out there. And I love doing it. I love talking to musicians, helping musicians, and bringing new ideas like this to the table, and just helping them give people more resources. Right? That's what it's about.
Yeah,
That's it.
absolutely.
Well, all right, Justin, thanks for walking us through it. And this is a new idea for many people, and I think it's going to keep evolving. And so I encourage the listener, go get plugged in, marination.com, marinationmusic.com, and engage with it and see what happens with it. Listeners, I want to hear your take, helpful, not helpful. I want to hear what you think about this. And so does Justin. And so check it out. Give us some feedback. As the host, I try to stay neutral here and just give the information, but I do like this idea a lot. And my aim is to bring you options, translate the money side, and help you make better decisions. So, on that note, if today got you thinking about building a steady funding system behind your music, head on over to my website as well, 1024wealth.com/music, and download your free ebook called A Musician's Guide to Infinite Banking. It shows you how to keep money accessible, keep growth compounding, smooth your feast or famine season times with your money, help you self fund releases, tours, and gear on your own timeline. So go check it out. And when you want to talk through it, book a call with me on that same link and we'll chat. For now, subscribe on your favorite podcast app, share this with one musician who needs to hear it. And until next time, keep your money working and your music